The Art of Happiness, by the Dalai Lama, co-written with Howard C. Cutler, is a profound exploration of the human quest for happiness and fulfillment. The book is structured as a series of conversations between the Dalai Lama and Cutler, a psychiatrist who seeks to understand the Dalai Lama's perspective on achieving lasting happiness. The narrative is rich with insights, anecdotes, and practical advice, blending Eastern spiritual wisdom with Western psychological thought. Introduction. The journey begins with Cutler's curiosity about the Dalai Lama's perpetual state of joy and contentment, despite the hardships he has endured. This curiosity sets the stage for a deep dive into the nature of happiness, its sources, and the obstacles that prevent us from achieving it. The book is not merely a philosophical treatise, but a practical guide, offering tools and techniques to cultivate happiness in everyday life. Chapter 1. The Purpose of Life. The first chapter delves into the fundamental question of life's purpose. The Dalai Lama asserts that the ultimate purpose of life is to seek happiness. This is not the fleeting happiness that comes from material possessions or external validation, but a deep, enduring sense of contentment and fulfillment. The Dalai Lama argues that happiness is not something that happens to us, but something we must actively cultivate through our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. The chapter explores the idea that happiness is a state of mind, not a product of external circumstances. The Dalai Lama shares personal anecdotes and stories from his own life to illustrate this point, emphasizing the importance of inner peace and mental discipline. He introduces the concept of right view, which involves understanding the interdependent nature of reality and the impermanence of all things. This understanding, he suggests, is the foundation of true happiness. Chapter 2. The Sources of Happiness. In this chapter, the Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the various sources of happiness. The Dalai Lama distinguishes between temporary sources of happiness, such as sensory pleasures and material wealth, and more enduring sources, such as love, compassion, and inner peace. He emphasizes that true happiness comes from within and is cultivated through mental training and ethical conduct. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, which provide a framework for understanding suffering and achieving happiness. He discusses the importance of cultivating positive mental states, such as kindness, generosity, and patience, and the role of meditation in developing these qualities. The chapter also touches on the concept of karma, the law of cause and effect, and how our actions shape our experiences of happiness and suffering. Chapter 3. Training the Mind for Happiness. This chapter focuses on the practical techniques for training the mind to achieve happiness. The Dalai Lama introduces the concept of mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware of the current moment. He discusses various meditation techniques, including concentration meditation and analytical meditation, which help to develop mental clarity and emotional stability. The Dalai Lama also emphasizes the importance of cultivating positive emotions and reducing negative ones. He discusses techniques for dealing with anger, anxiety, and other destructive emotions, such as practicing patience, forgiveness, and compassion. The chapter includes personal stories and examples from the Dalai Lama's life, illustrating how he has applied these techniques in his own journey towards happiness. Chapter 4. Reclaiming Our Innate State of Happiness. In this chapter, the Dalai Lama explores the idea that happiness is our natural state, but it is often obscured by negative emotions and mental habits. He discusses the concept of innate mind, a pure and unconditioned state of awareness that is free from suffering. The goal of spiritual practice, he suggests, is to uncover this innate mind and reconnect with our true nature. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist psychology, particularly the concept of the 5 aggregates, which describe the components of our experience: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. He discusses how our identification with these aggregates leads to suffering and how meditation can help us to see through this illusion and experience our true nature. The chapter also touches on the role of compassion in cultivating happiness, emphasizing that true happiness comes from caring for others and alleviating their suffering. Chapter 5. A Deep and Enduring Source of Happiness. This chapter delves into the concept of compassion as a deep and enduring source of happiness. The Dalai Lama discusses the importance of cultivating empathy and understanding for others, and how this can lead to a profound sense of connection and fulfillment. He shares stories and examples from his own life, illustrating the transformative power of compassion. The Dalai Lama also discusses the practice of Tonglen, a meditation technique that involves taking on the suffering of others and giving them happiness. He emphasizes that compassion is not merely a passive state, but an active force that can inspire us to take action to alleviate suffering in the world. The chapter also touches on the concept of bodhicitta, the aspiration to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all beings, and how this can be a powerful source of happiness and meaning. Chapter 6. The Value of Suffering. In this chapter, the Dalai Lama explores the paradoxical idea that suffering can be a valuable part of our journey towards happiness. He discusses how suffering can teach us important lessons about the nature of reality, the impermanence of all things, and the interdependent nature of our existence. He also emphasizes that suffering can be a catalyst for spiritual growth and transformation. The Dalai Lama shares personal stories and examples from his own life, illustrating how he has used suffering as an opportunity for learning and growth. He discusses the importance of cultivating resilience and mental toughness in the face of adversity, and how this can help us to overcome challenges and achieve happiness. The chapter also touches on the concept of equanimity, the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of suffering, and how this can be cultivated through meditation and mindfulness. Chapter 7. The Power of Compassion. This chapter further explores the transformative power of compassion. The Dalai Lama discusses how compassion can heal our own suffering and the suffering of others, and how it can inspire us to take action to create a more compassionate world. He shares stories and examples from his own life, illustrating the profound impact that compassion can have on individuals and communities. The Dalai Lama also discusses the practice of metta, or loving-kindness meditation, which involves cultivating feelings of warmth and friendliness towards all beings. He emphasizes that compassion is not merely a personal virtue but a global necessity, and that cultivating compassion can help us to address the challenges of our time, such as violence, inequality, and environmental degradation. The chapter also touches on the concept of interbeing, the idea that all things are interconnected and interdependent, and how this understanding can inspire us to act with compassion and care for all beings. Chapter 8. The Art of Happiness in a Troubled World. In this chapter, the Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the challenges of cultivating happiness in a troubled world. They explore the impact of global issues such as war, poverty, and environmental degradation on our individual and collective well-being, and how we can respond to these challenges with compassion and wisdom. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the concept of dependent origination, which describes the interdependent nature of all things. He discusses how understanding this interdependence can help us to see the root causes of suffering and to take action to address them. The chapter also touches on the role of education in cultivating happiness, emphasizing the importance of teaching values such as compassion, empathy, and ethical conduct. Chapter 9. The Art of Happiness at Work. This chapter focuses on the application of the principles of happiness in the workplace. The Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the challenges of finding meaning and fulfillment in our work, and how we can cultivate happiness in our professional lives. They explore the impact of stress, burnout, and other workplace issues on our well-being, and how we can respond to these challenges with mindfulness and compassion. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the concept of right livelihood, which involves earning a living in a way that is ethical and beneficial to others. He discusses the importance of cultivating positive relationships in the workplace, and how this can contribute to a sense of community and belonging. The chapter also touches on the role of leadership in cultivating happiness, emphasizing the importance of leading with compassion, integrity, and wisdom. Chapter 10. The Art of Happiness in Relationships. In this chapter, the Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the role of relationships in our happiness. They explore the challenges of cultivating healthy and fulfilling relationships, and how we can overcome obstacles such as conflict, misunderstanding, and betrayal. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the concept of interbeing, which describes the interdependent nature of all things. He discusses the importance of cultivating compassion, empathy, and understanding in our relationships, and how this can help us to build strong and lasting connections with others. The chapter also touches on the role of communication in cultivating happiness, emphasizing the importance of listening, expressing ourselves honestly, and resolving conflicts peacefully. Chapter 11. The Art of Happiness in Solitude. This chapter explores the value of solitude in cultivating happiness. The Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the challenges of finding peace and contentment in our busy and distracted lives, and how we can cultivate happiness through quiet reflection and introspection. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the concept of mindfulness, which involves being fully present and aware of the current moment. He discusses the importance of cultivating inner peace and mental clarity, and how this can help us to overcome challenges such as stress, anxiety, and depression. The chapter also touches on the role of nature in cultivating happiness, emphasizing the importance of spending time in natural environments and connecting with the beauty and wonder of the world around us. Chapter 12. The Art of Happiness in a Material World. In this chapter, the Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the challenges of cultivating happiness in a materialistic society. They explore the impact of consumerism, competition, and other materialistic values on our well-being, and how we can respond to these challenges with wisdom and compassion. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the concept of non-attachment, which involves letting go of our cravings and aversions and finding contentment in the present moment. He discusses the importance of cultivating gratitude, generosity, and contentment, and how this can help us to overcome the temptations of materialism and find true happiness. The chapter also touches on the role of simplicity in cultivating happiness, emphasizing the importance of living simply, consuming mindfully, and valuing experiences over possessions. Chapter 13. The Art of Happiness in the Face of Death. This chapter delves into the profound topic of death and its relationship to happiness. The Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the inevitability of death and how our attitudes towards it can shape our experience of life. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the concept of impermanence, which describes the transient nature of all things. He discusses the importance of accepting the reality of death and using it as a motivation to live fully and meaningfully. The chapter also touches on the role of compassion in the face of death, emphasizing the importance of caring for the dying and the bereaved with kindness and understanding. The Dalai Lama shares personal stories and examples from his own life, illustrating the transformative power of facing death with courage and compassion. Chapter 14. The Art of Happiness in a Global Community. In this chapter, the Dalai Lama and Cutler discuss the challenges and opportunities of cultivating happiness in a global community. They explore the impact of global issues such as war, poverty, and environmental degradation on our individual and collective well-being, and how we can respond to these challenges with compassion and wisdom. The Dalai Lama shares insights from Buddhist philosophy, particularly the concept of interbeing, which describes the interdependent nature of all things. He discusses the importance of cultivating a global consciousness, a sense of responsibility and care for all beings and the planet. The chapter also touches on the role of education in cultivating happiness, emphasizing the importance of teaching values such as compassion, empathy, and ethical conduct. The Dalai Lama shares his vision for a more compassionate and just world, and how each of us can contribute to this vision through our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Conclusion. The Art of Happiness concludes with a powerful message of hope and inspiration. The Dalai Lama and Cutler emphasize that happiness is not a distant or unattainable goal, but a practical and achievable state of being. Through mindfulness, compassion, and ethical conduct, we can cultivate happiness in our own lives and contribute to the happiness of others. The book is a testament to the transformative power of spiritual practice and the enduring wisdom of the Dalai Lama, offering a roadmap for a happier, more fulfilling life. The narrative of The Art of Happiness is rich with insights, anecdotes, and practical advice blending Eastern spiritual wisdom with Western psychological thought. It is a compelling retelling of the Dalai Lama's teachings, offering a deep and engaging exploration of the human quest for happiness and fulfillment. The book invites us to embark on our own journey towards happiness, armed with the tools and techniques to cultivate inner peace, compassion, and joy in our daily lives.